It's good.
All
Woohoo!
right. Yes.
Woo!
Thank you, everybody, very, very much for your patience. And once again, tonight, very, very special cast edition of Debuffed Out of the Box because tonight we have a very special guest, Richie Procopio. Richie, thank you very much for your patience tonight. Thank you very much for coming on.
Thank you for having me. It's awesome to be here, and just want to say, everybody, hello out there, internet. So,
And also, co hosting tonight, Miss Liette.
Hello.
All right, for those of you that don't know about Richie, and I don't know how you don't know about Richie if you don't know about him, but for those of you, confused you there, didn't I? For those of you that don't know about Richie, Richie has been playing MMOs forever. He started with Ultima Online and is currently playing Guild Wars 2. So you Guild Wars 2 fans out there, give it up for Mr. Richie. Richie is
I think you just called me old. No,
not so. I
you've been
promise
playing
not so.
MMOs forever.
Oh man, come on. You know how it goes. We look at some of these games nowadays and it's like, well, I remember back when. Richie is currently a member of Massively's Stream Team. He's also a Guildcast host on Gamebreaker TV. So, Richie, tell us a little bit about yourself.
Yeah, I'm kind of all over the place. I'm a live stream host, like you said, for massively.com, and I do a Guild Wars 2 web show every single week called Guildcast for Gamebreaker, and I'm also the host of Nexus Talk on the ZAM official YouTube channel, and I have my own personal YouTube channel, Bog Otter, where I make content every single week, a lot of Guild Wars 2 stuff, but also some other things in there, and yeah, basically just cobbling together a little, trying to make a gaming career just by spreading my wings everywhere. I've done some writing, I did video work, and some streaming, and yeah, that's kind of the background on that. I was for 12 years. I was a call center manager at various companies, and when I got laid off about 4 years ago, my wife and I flip flopped roles, and while I'm home with the kids, I'm doing this kind of stuff. That's
Nice.
basically it.
Well, very cool. Well, you go by Bog Otter. Where'd you come up with that?
Yeah, that was something from when I was a kid. A bunch of my friends and I were swimming in a lagoon, and we were just wrestling and fighting each other, and we kind of adopted like superhero or like swampy superhero names or whatever. And we had some guy was a crocodile something, and another guy was like the Incredible Bulk, I think, and I became the Bog Otter, the snarky kind of wiry trickster guy, and it just stuck, and it's a name that I've just used as a handle since then. And when I created my YouTube channel, I just went, yeah, let's do that, Bog Otter, and that's me. Now I'm a swamp otter. For all
Nice.
eternity.
Nice. So, rumor has it that you really like achievements. What,
I do.
out of all the achievements, what is the one you're proudest of?
My obsession with achievements is not necessarily about one particular one. It's just this. I have some OCD tendencies, and it's just I need to fill up the boxes. I need all the check marks checked. I need to see it all filled up. I do remember one from World of Warcraft that always stood out to me, because they had a lot of achievements in World of Warcraft that were, they gave you for beating content, right, and then for they had some goofy things you could do, and there was also some grindy things you could do, like reputation and different things. But there was one, I think it was in the Burning Crusade in the Shadow Moon Valley, where you down where I guess they were the Netherwing dragons. They had a race that you can get on a dragon, and you had to beat a series of opponents in the sky, and it was so different than everything else in World of Warcraft. It was a solo experience, and it took like manual dexterity to actually complete. And very few of my friends and guildmates had done this thing. So when I got that achievement, it took me. I had to study videos. I had to learn the patterns on how to weave and dodge. It's like a dogfight kind of race thing. And that one stands out to me. Probably what was that 5 or 6 years ago. So probably that one stands out to me as a good one because nobody else was really doing it back then.
So now, while you were in WoW, did you get the Fisherman achievement?
The title for all the no. See, I worked on that for a long time, but some of those things just eluded me. I would spend hours and hours trying to get. There was like I can't remember. It's been a while, but there was some sort of rare lobster type thing from the Burning Crusade expansion. I never got that one, and it was funny. My dad played World of Warcraft with me, and I remember he like fished three
Wow.
times and got the damn thing I never got. I was like,
Nice.
come on.
See, that's my luck.
Yeah. So yeah, I never got the title for the big fisherman one in WoW.
So, favorite Guild Wars 2 title
Favorite Guild Wars 2 title?
or hardest one to get?
I don't know. I run around right now. I run around with the Sunless because beating Tequatl, the recent revamp of Tequatl, that one I'm proud of. And I usually do like Chosen of the Stars or something that shows that I was playing Guild Wars 1 and unlock some stuff in the Hall of Monuments and stuff like that. So, you always try to pick the one that, nobody else is wearing currently. As soon as new content comes out, everyone runs around with the newest title. I don't know. I always try to go against the grain a little bit there.
Nice.
Well, very cool. So what's your favorite part of Guild Wars 2, since I know you're very into that game?
Yeah, I am very into that game. I play that game a lot. Yeah, you know what it is? It's because I played WoW for 7 years, and I got used to, and I was a guild leader and I was a raid leader, and you get very used to playing a game like that where you have to surround yourself with like very skillful players, right? And you have to. And I constantly had to have like talks with people in the guild who weren't like cutting it during the raids, or you have to try to recruit and always and it become you exclude people as part of that game, and it's part of it. And if you want to progress and you want to get those great moments of beating a really tough boss, you have to do those type of things. So I'm not knocking that, but in Guild Wars, it's so open. Like I host, we do guild missions every Monday night, and we let anybody come with us, and you can invite as many people as you want. There's no raid limit. There's no size limit. It doesn't matter if you're geared. It doesn't matter what level you are. It doesn't matter if you stink at the game or you're awesome at the game. You could just include everybody, and it's very refreshing in that regard to just say, yeah, I don't care. Come join my guild and whatever. You don't have to have all these restrictions in place. So I just think that how open and easy it is to play that game with other people is a key part. Like I was streaming today for Massively. I streamed Guild Wars 2. I said, I'm going to level an alt today. Bring out your alts, and anybody on the stream could instantly join me. We all get credit. We all level up together. You don't have to worry about, are you in this party? Are you in that party? You don't have to worry about, are you on this quest line? Oh, you already did this quest line. All right, well, then you can't come. There's none of that in the game. And that, I think, is what's really special about it, and probably doesn't get talked about enough. I just love that. I love how easy it is to just play with people.
Very
Nice.
cool. Well,
Nice.
how did you handle the leveling then, since you were just going out and leveling? Did you have a particular methodology or favorite way to handle it, or did you just go?
When I first leveled up my character, or?
Well, how about when you first leveled up, what'd you do?
Well, you know what? There's and this goes back to the achievement type things and OCD-ness. There's a very interesting thing when you're exploring a Guild Wars 2 map. You can go for what's called map completion, and that is unlocking all the points of interest, all of the vistas, completing all the renowned hearts, and there's one more, I think. Point of interest, vista, renowned hearts, and waypoints, and finding all the waypoints in the zone. So what I tend to just level up by being OCD and trying to complete the map 100% before I go to the next area. And I do that in every game. I can't leave an area. Oh, I didn't do that quest in this. Oh, I can't go on to the next map until I do it. I don't know. I'm a little neurotic when it comes to those type of things. So that's how I leveled my first character. The character that I'm not a big alt guy. I tend to play one character and just stick to it. But I do these alt leveling streams once in a while for Massively. So that's like the only way I could get myself to level alt is like if I'm streaming and I have a bunch of people with me to make it like less boring to me. So that's I know a lot of people have they're altaholics and they have like 8 max level characters or whatever, but I only have 2 max level characters in Guild Wars 2 despite all the playing I do.
I'll tell you what, I identify with you there. No matter how hard I try to level up an alt, I never managed to get one past level 10 in
Yeah.
any
Either.
game. I'm like, well, I can go group with my mates over here, or I log on with a mindset that I want to get this done today, or something like that.
Yeah.
Um, of all your streams, and I've had a great opportunity to look through many of them, and they're actually really, really good.
Well, thank
Out
you.
of all your streams, which do you consider your favorite? Which one did you get done with, and it was like you wanted to put that up on the shelf, hang it on the wall,
Are we talking about videos too, or just the live streams I do?
videos or live streams?
I recently did a video for my YouTube channel. It's called Guild Wars 2 Boomerang's Guide for Returning Players. And because what's been happening in Guild Wars is they're pumping out content every 2 weeks. Every 2 weeks there's a new patch. And since Guild Wars 2 doesn't have a subscription fee, I know there's a lot of people out there that probably got the game when it first launched, right? And played for months or weeks or whatever, and then got bored and moved on. But the thing about it is, because there's no subscription fee, you can always come back to the game. So I thought that anybody that's coming back to the game might feel a little bit lost with how rapidly they're putting content out. So I started a new series just a couple weeks ago, and I spent probably about 15 hours on this one video. Just trying to catch people up on, like, here's what you need to know. And it's going to be a series. I've already have 2 episodes of it up now. One's world versus world focused, and one's kind of like general information. But people seem really drawn to it. And ArenaNet's helped me promote it. So yeah, I'm pretty, I know it's really recent, but that's probably my proudest video right now, because it's something that the community really seems to need. So check that out if you haven't.
That is awesome, and that's an awesome thing to do for players, because I know I played EverQuest for years and years, and obviously got out of it for years. And me and a buddy of mine that started EverQuest with me, he was over at the house one day spending the weekend with the family. We're like, hey, EQ's free to play now. Let's log on and just start level 1 again. And it wasn't even the same starting place.
Yeah.
It's like, where are we?
You feel so lost, right? You feel like I do that with WoW sometimes. I've been out of WoW for a year and a half. I log in and there's like stuff in my inventory. I don't even know what it is. You check your mailbox and it's like full, and you just go, that feels like work, and you log off. So yeah, and I think that's one of the strengths of Guild Wars 2 is just that no sub fee, and that you can just pop back in whenever something's interesting. It doesn't mean you can't play other games, you can't be into other things and take breaks now and then, but it's hard to jump back in. So I haven't taken a break since the launch, and I have an excuse. I create content for it. It's kind of like my job to stay abreast of what's going on in Guild Wars 2. So I feel like I'm in a good position to help other people get back into it. So those videos have been successful so far.
Well, that is really awesome. Well, do you see a lot of new players coming back in? And if so, how does that affect the community and the cohesiveness that you like so much?
Yeah, you know what? I've gotten a lot of comments on these videos recently saying, "Oh my God, this is like perfect timing. I was just getting back into it, or I just loaded it up." And I think Halloween patch last year was one of the favorite of the communities, and next Tuesday it's coming back. And so I think a lot of players are probably, dusting off the icon on their desktop because they want to jump back in for it. So, yeah, I do think it's the type of thing, where we're seeing more and more people get back into it. And, the game is getting better and better. And if anybody was playing through like January or February of this year, and they started to see that like the content was very light and there wasn't a lot going on, they really missed when they started pumping this out, because it happened around May of this year. They just started going to every 2 weeks a new patch, and like the patches are getting bigger, the patches are getting more involved, and they're updating a lot of the core features of the game too, making things more convenient, making things easier to find, and just the whole experience is just improved. So I think we'll continue to see more players come back.
Nice. Now, how many tries did it take you to complete the clock tower jump puzzle? I remember watching my son, and my son's 15, and he plays Guild Wars 2 on and off. And yeah. I remember watching him try that thing. And if this would have been a console game, the
Yeah.
controller would have gone out the window. He was getting frustrated, and me personally, I'm not a jumper. It doesn't
Yeah.
matter what game, I don't jump too well. So how many tries did it take you?
I'm very stubborn. I have a surprising amount of patience for that kind of thing, and I'm not overly dexterous. I'm a gamer of advancing years, but I don't give up. I actually recorded it. I have a video about it, and I counted the tries. It was over 250 tries. It took me 5 hours. 5 hours.
Wow!
Oh,
That is perseverance.
Yeah,
No doubt about it.
5 hours. So
So
yeah,
when you got
it's-
done, you're like,
Yeah, you got my reaction is recorded on that. I actually started screaming, and my kids who had been watching a lot of the failed attempts, they came running, and they're on the video too. Like, you beat it, you beat it. It was really cool.
oh,
Yeah,
so how long does 250 tries take a person?
5 hours. It took me
Oh, wow.
not
That is
consecutive.
focus.
I took breaks, but not consecutive.
That is
But
awesome. My hat is off to you.
yeah, I can't wait to try it again. And that's the funny thing is like I can't wait till next week. I'm like I can't. I got to get back in there. It's been a
well,
year.
now you know how to do it. It's awesome.
Yeah.
Well, you said your kids hopped in there. Do they ever game with you, or are they gamers too?
Yeah. They've been much to my wife's chagrin.
Oh,
They've adopted my my video game tendencies. Yeah, we play. Right now, they're way into Skylanders. The new Skylanders is coming out next week. So we've been leveling up all their little figures, and so that's fun. And we play Minecraft together on the Xbox. We play Cube World. They both have Guild Wars 2 characters. My younger son, he's 7. He's more into it than my older son. So and he has a separate account. So we play together. We run around a little bit together. But it's funny. He doesn't have an interest to like level to max and do that kind of. He just likes like some of the mini games and he wants me to buy him dyes and pets and break my bank
Priorities.
account. Yeah. But it's a lot of fun. Yeah, they're definitely going to be gamers, or they definitely already are gamers, and will continue to be.
Nice. Now I got to ask you, because we just talked about the clock tower a second ago, and it just kind of hit me. You know, football players, they make a touchdown, they have an end zone dance.
Yeah.
When you, after 250 tries, 5 hours, was there a little dancing going on?
I don't know. There's screaming involved. Maybe some singing. Maybe a big glass of wine. But I don't know if I'm not a big into the dance thing now.
okay. So no happy dance for you.
Yeah, there you go.
That's about the extent of my dancing.
Well, for streams, you do a lot of them. What got you into it in the first place?
I saw I was writing for a couple different websites, complex.com and unwinnable.com. This is a couple years ago. And I saw, and I was a fan of massively.com and MMOs in general. So I frequented a lot of those websites. And one day on Massively, they had a post that said, hey, would you want to be a live stream host? Join our Massively stream team. And you had to submit a sample of a stream and apply. And so I got XSplit that day, and I started tinkering around with it and learning it right then and there. And I recorded a 10-minute application and I submitted it, and they hired me. And it was like the very next week I was streaming. I was like, I was so nervous. So that's how I got into streaming. So yeah, it'll be 2 years in December since I've been streaming, and I do at least one show every week for them.
Wow.
So yeah, it's been fun.
Well, that is awesome. Okay, well, because we're into it, what's the strangest question anybody has asked you about or during your streams?
The one that sticks out to me, somebody asked me to marry them in a stream.
Okay, that's awkward.
And the funny thing about it is my dad happened to be watching that stream. And so he messages me afterward. He's like, "Great stream. Somebody wanted to marry you." I was like, "Okay." He's like, but he said something. He said their username. I forget what it was. It was like whatever it was. And he's like, "Do you think that's a boy or a girl?"
Oh my.
I was like, I don't know, Dad.
I guess that's better than the wife walking in and having somebody else ask you to marry him.
Yeah. Thankfully, she wasn't watching.
So now, people asking you to marry him, is that all part of being famous? Because you are a famous personality, whether you know it or not. You're
You think
very
I'm famous? I don't think I'm famous.
absolutely. You are a very, very popular personality in the gaming world. No
Well,
doubt. Your
thank you for
videos
saying
rock.
that. I don't feel famous, to be honest. I do actually. You know what's funny? I do have a really this has only happened to me once outside of like any kind of gaming convention or anything. This was very surreal for me. Last November, I was vacationing in Disney World, and I was there with my wife, my kids, and my mother-in-law, and I had separated from my whole family. I was looking for them. I was trying to find them. I didn't know where they were, and all of a sudden, this guy comes up to me. He goes, "Richie." And I'm like, hello? And he's
Sounds like set up to a horror movie.
yeah. I'm like, hello? And he's like, I watch your videos. I've seen you on Guildcast. I was like, really? I was like shocked beyond belief, right? And so now I'm all like happy, and I'm talking to the guy, and it's a very exciting thing. And I'm like on cloud nine, just like, this is amazing, whatever. And then my mother-in-law and my wife come over. Where have you been? Like they like jump right in, don't even see that I'm talking to someone. Like I was brought way back down to earth, like in a millisecond. My whole okay, there goes my ego.
Oh.
So that's the one time it's happened to me, and it's so. But no, I don't consider myself famous at all. So
And you know, there's nothing like a good family to keep
yeah,
solidly on the
that's
ground.
right. That's
Take
right.
work for it. You know, and how do they feel about your streaming?
My kids get a kick out of the videos. They're like I try to do a funny intro before every one of my like talking head videos that I do for like Nexus Talk or Tyria Talk, and they always ask, oh, like show me the intros. They don't care about the rest of the video. They want to see the funny parts. Yeah, they like what I'm doing. My wife thinks I'm crazy. She's like,
I know the feeling, by the way.
Yeah, she's like, well, she's not a gamer, so she gets very nervous whenever she has a controller in her hand or whatever. It kind of stresses her out. So she's like, so not only are you playing a game, which is stressful, you also have people watching you as you do it, which is stressful. So she thinks I'm nuts.
Wait till you drag her to a convention or a real life get together one.
I go on those things by myself. I know. I brought her. I think when we first started dating, I brought her to I did a Magic card tournament, right? And I brought her so she could watch, and she was like, I can't believe that's what it was. I'm like, yep, that's what it is. And so she doesn't come anymore.
Oh.
Yeah.
Well, maybe you'll have some good bribery or something there. I don't know.
I'll just raise my kids to like that kind of stuff and bring them with me.
There you go.
Give her a break.
Oh, well, it's too cool. Hopefully she will keep her patience with it. And I know
she does.
very...
She's happy that I'm happy, and you know, it's all good. It's good to have separate things and different things. So, yeah, there's no issues there.
I used to say that my wife kept me real, but you know, back in reality, because we'd get on, we'd play for hours.
Yeah,
you know what it's like, hours, and then it was time to leave the box. You know, so my wife, like yours, not a gamer.
I'm always thankful that these things weren't around when I was in college. You know, these online games like this, because I would never have gotten through it. I really wouldn't have. So yeah, it's like
I'd still be living at my parents' house. What are you talking about?
Yeah, it was good that the games like that came later. But I was, you know, in college, I remember like dialing up. This is totally showing my age, but dialing up like bulletin boards, and we had the one guy in the hall that had the modem with the 2400 baud or whatever, and we would dial up a message board, and we would play games like Risk, where you could take one turn a day. So okay, move over. It's my turn. I got to take my one turn. All right, I did that game. All right, and you'd have like 3 games you'd be playing, and that was the extent of our online gaming back then. It's terrible.
Been there.
Well, for the future and for reference, I did game through college, and I really do have the degree to show for it. So it can happen. There's hope for your
Nice.
kids. They will make it. We'll be good. Well, back to Guild Wars 2. They've got a lot coming up very soon, and what are you most looking forward to?
I mean, we talked about the clock tower. That's obviously a big draw for a lot of people. But I think what's really interesting about this patch is this is the first. Like, we had the 1 year anniversary of Guild Wars 2 in August, but this is the 1 year anniversary of their first content patch. So this was the first time they put out new content, was for the October Halloween patch last year. So I'm looking forward to seeing what's changed about it and what they update, because they spent a lot of time developing all the set dressings, right? The decorations that are going to go in last year. The clock tower jumping puzzle was designed last year, and they might make some changes to it. But a lot of that groundwork was already laid, so it really should have freed up the developers to, put more into it or change some things. And so I think it's going to be a big patch for them, and we'll get to see the concept of, because what a lot of complaints have been this past year was a lot of the content wasn't permanent, right? They would put in like the Dragon Bash Festival and the Bazaar of the Four Winds and Super Adventure Box and the Halloween and the Winter's Day stuff. And those are lots went into those patches. And then when the patch cycle was done, that content left the game. And it left some players like kind of wondering what the plan was. Well, we're going to start to see this year as these things come back. We're going to get to see all those places again, just updated. And so you kind of, distance makes the heart grow fonder, right? I'm excited to see this stuff again because it hasn't been in the game so long. So there's benefits and disadvantages to having the content be temporary. So I'm just in general looking forward to having a second go at the content for the first time. If that
Hopefully
makes
it
sense.
won't take you 5 hours this time, though, right?
Yeah, no doubt.
Yeah, you know what? I think I'm still going to stink at it again. It's been a year. We'll see.
All right, well, since we're talking about patches, let's go ahead and jump over there. There's some new features released in this patch that coming up on October 15th. Let's go over some of it. Combat quality of life fixes.
Yep. Yeah, they're going to be giving you some more options on how you place AoEs on the ground. Right now, you can actually click your button, and then you get the AoE reticle that you can kind of place on the ground, and then you can click to cast. But you can also have it set so that it auto casts wherever your mouse happens to be when you hit the button. But with this patch, they're going to be adding another third option.
Anybody home?
Where you can hold down the mouse button, and then it will cast on release. So it's just some things like that. They're also going to make it so that conditions and condition damage that's affecting your character is easier to see, because sometimes it's hard to tell when you're actually taking just direct damage or it's something like poison that's ticking on you that you should get rid of or something like that. So a couple things like that, and I think probably the biggest one is they're going to make it so all of your trait tooltips show specific information, because there's some vague traits right now that'll say something like, hey, take this trait and it will make your shouts heal. And you're like, okay, how much does it heal? And that number is not there currently. So things like this are a lot of quality of life type stuff. So looking forward to those changes. I think it'll be a great benefit for the game.
Good deal. How about the bounce updates? I mean, do you foresee those really helping?
They're basically doing some balance changes to help support builds. And in the game right now, a lot of people just tend to go full damage, right? And yeah, I actually played a Hammer Warrior Shout Healing build, which is very tanky, very survival focused, and if I went into a pug with that spec in a dungeon or something like that, I'd probably be chastised. I'd probably be like, oh, if you're not, running a full DPS set with full berserker gear, you're doing it wrong, kind of thing. But I'm usually playing with my guild and my friends, and I just like being tanky, and I like the hammer, and I like being able to heal other people, and even though that's kind of looked down upon because it's not the right way to do it, I'm glad they're at least going through a balanced patch to actually help some of these support builds, and hopefully they tweak it enough so that they've got some improved viewpoint from the community.
No doubt. Now, they're introducing the first WVW season.
Yes, they are. Yeah, so right now, World versus World, it's a week-long battle where you and your world and two other servers, two other worlds, will compete for the entire week, and you try to score points by killing other players, and if you have the Bloodlust buff on, or by capturing towers and keeps and different things like that. And what the World versus World season is a 7-week season where all of the worlds are split into 3 different leagues, and you face each one of your league at least each other world in your league at least once during the 7 weeks, and you're competing for not only bragging rights but actual prizes. And the better your server does, the better your prizes are. Now, the cool thing about it is there's going to be a set of achievements, where the people that contribute over the 7-week period and finish all of the achievements that they've lined up for this, they're the people that will actually get the rewards for your world doing well in the season. So only the people that are contributing to your world's success will get honored with the reward. So it's the first time they're doing this. Up until this point, it's just been like little single 1-week affairs. So I think it's going to be exciting.
Good deal. Good deal.
Well, too cool. What's been your favorite patch? Since we've got so much stuff coming out, but what have you liked the most so far?
You know what? The one I keep going back to, and I think this is a lot of people's favorite, is the first Super Adventure box back in April. Did you guys check that out at all?
I did
No,
not.
I missed that one.
So what happened was we had a patch at the end of March, and this is before they went to a 2-week cycle. We were getting a patch a month, basically. So like the last week of March, we had a patch, and it had a bunch of features in it. And on April 1st, they kind of just came out of nowhere, and they surprised us with this Super Adventure box. It went up on their website, and it was like this 8-bit world, right? And they had this like cheesy 80s commercial, like a video, and it showed like this like 8-bit world, and so a lot of people thought, okay, this is kind of like an April Fool's joke. It's on April 1st, and we just had a patch. But when you logged in the game, Super Adventure Box was in the game, and you can go, and it was a game within a game. Your character gets transported into an 8-bit world, and they had 3 fully fleshed out levels plus a little bit of a 4th level. It had achievements. It's like a platform game. It's like Super Mario Brothers meets Legend of Zelda. There are secret rooms. It's got an 8-bit soundtrack. It's got special achievements, special weapons you could unlock for doing it, and it just blew everyone away. It was just special for a lot of reasons. It seemed like an April Fool's joke, and then it wasn't. We had just gotten a patch, and this was totally a surprise. And they still went out and put out another patch out, toward the end of April. So it wasn't like we missed a content update in April because of it. And it just was universally acclaimed as one of the best patches in the game. And I would agree that I was so shocked by it. And I remember playing with one of my buddies, and we were going through it, and we're smiling, we're giggling, we're laughing, and at one point we just stopped and we said to each other on voice chat, like, what is this? Like, what are we doing? And it was just so surreal. We never played anything like that within an MMO before. So that's probably my favorite.
Sorry I missed that. That sounds like fun.
Yeah, it's good stuff.
Good deal. So the Halloween patch coming out. Are we looking at anything new this go around?
Yeah, we so last year it centered around the Mad King, and this year it seems like we're his son, the Bloody Prince Edric, if I'm recalling correctly, which we didn't know he had a son prior to this, and he's going to be the one that's kind of haunting the festivities. So there's going to be some, I assume, some questing or some lore behind his son, and he'll probably be a boss that we can battle in the instance that they did last year. And we're also, like I said, I'm hoping that they update the clock tower a little bit, maybe make some changes to it. I don't know if they'll do that or not. A lot of the things, add a few jumps, or like maybe change the way that the lobby worked for it, because I don't know if you remember or not, but after you fell, you kind of had to wait for everybody else who was in your little instance to fall before you could try again. And that was like the worst part. It's like you would fall and you'd be like, oh, and then sometimes you'd have to wait 30 or 40 seconds to try again, and it's like, no, I just want to get back in there and fall again. But
that's what I was watching my son do. He was getting very frustrated. So what got you interested in Guild Wars 2?
I was playing World of Warcraft, and and it was like 7 years, and I just started to get. And I was a guild master for most of that time, and it's a big responsibility, as you probably imagine yourself. And I was starting to feel like I needed to exit at some point. And I went to PAX East in 2011, I believe, and I just randomly with a buddy of mine went to the Guild Wars 2 panel, and they showed a bunch of videos and had the devs talking up there about what they wanted to do, and the whole entire thing was just how they wanted to do things differently, not have standard questing, be able to, have people on other servers guest on your server, all those different things. And I had a notebook. This is a funny story. I had a notebook that I was taking notes with, and this was just at the start of when I was starting to get into doing some video game content and stuff like that. So I had a notebook, I was taking notes, and I actually cut myself somehow while I'm sitting there in the panel. And like it was I don't know what I did, was like on the spiral notebook, I think, and it was bleeding a lot, and I had nowhere nothing to do with it. So I took a page like near the back of the book and kind of just rolled my finger in it. And it's funny, to this day I still have this Guild Wars 2 notebook with all the notes I took from that thing, and there's the bloody mark at the end of it.
Oh no.
So yeah, that's
the worst.
Yeah, that PAX panel is what did it for me. I came right home and started. That's when I started Tyria Talk. Right after that, there's 58 episodes of that now on my YouTube channel. It's just me talking about Guild Wars 2, and that's really what got the whole YouTube channel rolling. So, yeah, it was that one day in PAX East that did it.
Nice.
Well, sounds very fun. So you like to play the tank with a big hammer. How does that work in World versus World for you? Do you tend to slam a lot of people? Are you successful, or do you not like World versus World as much?
I haven't done a lot of World versus World. I've been getting into it more and more very recently. Like I said, I did a boomerang video, the returning player video, focused on World versus World. I just put it out this week. But with the season coming up and more achievements, I might get more into it. From what I hear, Hammer Warriors are actually very good in World versus World, because a lot of the abilities on the Hammer, in Guild Wars, your left side of your ability bar is all tied to the weapon you're holding.
Right.
So there's a lot of crowd control in that. There's stuns, there's knockbacks, and different things like that. So when you have a big group of people in World versus World, having Hammer Warriors just knocking people around, it's a very good thing. So yeah, that's probably my favorite weapon on the Warrior. And I would like to eventually get the legendary for the Hammer, but so far the precursor has eluded me.
It will come.
Hopefully.
So now you put out a stellar video for players returning to Guild Wars 2. If you could pick the single best piece of advice that you put into that video, the most profound, and there always is, what would that be? What would be the most profound?
Ooh. There's a lot of them. One of the big things for me was the fact that they over the summer they did a revamp to the achievement system, and this speaks to anybody who's got my sickness for achievements. What they did, and unlike a lot of games, the achievements actually do something for you in this game, starting this summer. And what it does is, when your achievement point total hits a certain threshold, now you unlock a series of rewards for your account. They give you some goodies in a chest, but they also unlock permanent increases to your magic find, gold find, experience, and karma across all your characters on your account. And in addition, you can unlock special weapon and armor skins that you get unlimited copies of it that you can share with all the characters on your account. And you don't have to spend achievement points. It's not a currency. It's just when you hit certain thresholds. So what that does for this game is it makes it rewarding to do anything in the game. If I'm leveling an alt and I do different sections of the personal story I never did before, and I unlock achievement points, well, that helps all my characters out. If I decide to, do some World versus World on one character, that's helping all the other characters. And it really kind of pulled together the reward system in the game for me in a way that I hadn't felt before. Whereas before, I could take a break, for a week or two or whatever, and then jump back in when something new was in. But now I kind of want to continue to play and unlock every single achievement that I possibly can, because it like I said, it rewards you. I want to increase my magic find. I want my other alts to level up more quickly, and I want to unlock these really cool skins. So I would think that a lot of players probably hit max level and said, well, what's the end game in this game? Because it is so much different than a lot of other games. There's no raid progression, there's no gear progression in the game. So what's my incentive to keep playing? Well, I think this achievement revamp is a good incentive for players who like, showing off cosmetic skins and titles and getting fancy rewards just from playing the game. So that's probably my big selling point of the video.
Very good. Very good.
That is a really good system. I wasn't aware of it, so thank you for the detail on it. I'm excited to hit my Guild Wars 2 icon again here and check that out.
Yeah, I'm kind of getting the urge myself.
That's what's funny. Everyone says that. A lot of people were cursing at me on the video comments. They're like, "Damn you, Bug Otter!" He's like, "Now I gotta go play again. I'm just gonna bring you in."
Well, with good changes, sometimes there's always some constructive criticism. If you had anything you'd like to change in the game, what would that be?
It's funny you keep asking me all these very relevant questions. I put out a video this morning that kind of was just a begging ArenaNet. Now they've talked about this feature in some way, shape, or form might eventually come in. So there is precedent that this might actually make it into the game. But one of the difficult things for me in the game is we unlock all of these cool skins for doing the content. Like a new patch will come out and they'll have new things you can go for. You can get a new helmet, right? Like a dragon helmet, or a new back piece that would be a pair of dragon wings, or they have this octopus one, and like all this stuff that can go on your back, all these cool skins. The problem is there's not a good system for like a wardrobe system or a cosmetic tab or anything like that. And what happens is I find that I unlock all of these cool things and they sit in my bank because it's hard. It's kind of clunky to actually change the way you look and keep the stats. You have to use these transmutation stones, and like if I have a helmet on and I want to keep the skin of this helmet so that I can use it again in the future, but for now I want to change it, I have to like use a transmutation stone, put this onto another item, but keep the stats over here and then transfer the other. Yeah, it's just complicated. It's convoluted. So I made a video today saying, please, we need a wardrobe system where you can unlock the skins and be able to go in and see all the things that you've unlocked and just play dress up. I want to play dress up. Okay, I'm not too man enough. I'm man enough to say that. I need to play dress up.
Well, hey, Barbie used to come with a really big wardrobe box. You opened it, you had your little hanger, so I feel you there. It made life a lot easier rather than just throw it in a drawer.
Right.
So
that's what I'd like to see updated for the game.
Now, what are your thoughts on how ArenaNet is handling the population imbalance?
For like world versus world?
World versus world, yes.
Well, I don't know if there's a ton they can do. They try to incentivize players to go to, or when you transfer to a higher population server in the game, it costs more money. And actually right now, transferring, because of the world versus world season that's starting soon, they've actually discounted those prices, and they even made it free to transfer to servers that are of medium population, I think. Yeah, I don't hear a lot about population imbalances, but the problem is there's certainly some servers that they don't have as many people, and they usually do a lot worse in world versus world. I'm fortunate that I've been on Blackgate since the very first day, and it's one of the most popular servers. And we recently got the world first kill of Tequatl when they revamped that boss. I happened to be there, which was just amazing. And they do very well in world versus world as well. But I can imagine that it might be a little bit frustrating to be on a server that's low population and not necessarily have the finances to transfer off of it. So I could feel that. I'm not sure that there's much that they can do. This is a problem that every game has in some shape or form, either a faction imbalance or server imbalance or something like that. It's just just an issue across all MMOs.
Yeah, because I remember before they got the server transfers under control, I remember there were entire WVW PvP guilds that would literally server hop every other week
Yep.
to the server that was doing best in PvP.
Yeah. Yeah, that doesn't happen it still happens, but it doesn't happen as much because there's a cost involved. But yeah, ramping up for season 1, that's happening right now. Blackgate's been flooded with new players. And you can tell because you're in overflow servers all the time when you're trying to go around. But yeah, because once you choose, once the World versus World season 1 starts, even if you transfer worlds after that, you're still stuck on. In terms of World versus World, it won't count. You can't transfer. You have to wait till the season's over. So there's no hopping once that date is passed. So right now there's a lot of jockeying for spots, and I've seen my server, because it's one of the top World versus World servers. I've seen it flooded with new players. So yeah, it's just something that's going to happen.
Now, do you ever see, and highly unlikely because the way you can guest on other servers, but do you ever see them doing any server merges for some of the real low pop servers, or is it just going to be a guesting?
Yeah, I would think that it's a guesting thing. I mean, they were careful at the launch of the game not to have too many servers, because some games have had that problem where they want to satisfy the initial rush, so they open all these servers to reduce queue times. But Guild Wars 2's never had queue times, right? They don't have that system at all. You can always log in, and if there's too many people on a map, you're just on an overflow server. So they were able to not have a bloated amount of servers come launch, and I think that's paying off now. I don't see them ever closing a server. Like you said, you can guess, you can pretty much do all the content in the game except for World versus World with anyone on any server, as long as it's in the same region. And they have a new looking for group tool now, so you can search for other players that want to do dungeons and different content across server. So it's very helpful.
Nice.
Well, I'm sorry. I have not been in World versus World very much in that game, and I have to admit I ran around with the herd and I hit a couple buttons. So I'm very clueless on it and how population obviously would make a difference. But I haven't seen that much firsthand. And I really was not thinking very hard when I made my Elementalist. I've been told that's a glass cannon. Aside from, it's fun. You get to be a caster. And
I think it's the hardest class to play, in my opinion.
Yeah, I'm really bad. I die a lot. But you've got your tank, and you said you had one alt. What is your alt?
It's an Elementalist.
Oh my gosh, I'm sorry. How good are you?
The problem with the Elementalist, and it was funny because in beta, I was actually debating Warrior or Elementalist. I was going back and forth, and I guessed correctly. I said, you know what? Because the way the Elementalist works is different than all the others. Elementalist and the Engineer, they can't weapon swap, right? And so as a Warrior, I can have 2 different weapon builds. I can have a hammer, and then I can hit my weapon swap button. I can go to like Sword and Shield or something like that. The Elementalists can't do that, but they have 4 attunements. They have Fire, Water, Air, and Earth. And so if they're using a staff, they can have 5 fire spells listed there, but then they hit F1 or F2, and they switch to Earth, and then there's 5 Earth, there's 5 Water, and there's 5 Air. So while they can't weapon swap, they have access to 20 abilities at once for just holding a staff on the left-hand side of their skill bar, not even mentioning the skills on the right-hand side. Whereas my Warrior has access to 10. So they have access to double amount of stuff at once. So if you want to maximize the potential of an Elementalist, you have to know all 20 of those abilities and be able to swap between the 4 attunements and know what all those abilities are. And if you want to just stick to one attunement and just blast them with fire or whatever, that's fine, but you're really not maximizing the potential of the Elementalist. So I think they're, for that reason, the hardest to learn and the hardest to play. But if you're very skillful and you really get it down, there's probably a higher skill ceiling involved with that. And you can probably really do some things that a lot of the other classes can't. So it's definitely a learning curve on the Elementalist.
Most definitely. Now, you also have Nexus Talk for ZAM.
Yes.
How'd you get involved in that?
Yeah, I've been following WildStar maybe since around this time last year, and again the whole PAX East thing. I went to PAX East this past March. I went to the WildStar panel, and again I was just like, oh, falling in love again. So I came home and I did the same thing. I started Nexus Talk on my YouTube channel, and I think I did 4 episodes of that, and then Zam contacted me and said, hey, would you like to move your Nexus Talk episodes over to the Zam official channel? And now, previously, it had been almost exclusively a World versus World channel, World of Warcraft channel. Lore from TankSpot, and he did most of the video content over there. But they have over 100,000 subscribers on that channel, and I was like, yeah, I'd like to do videos for that channel. So now I'm on episode 21 or 22 now. So those aren't on my personal channel anymore, but they're over there on Sam Official.
That is awesome. And I'll tell you what, Carbine they have really sold this game. It is, you just get excited.
Yeah.
They can put out a WildStar Wednesday and say, well, this is how a Chua sneezes. And the whole community is going to go wild over it.
Yeah.
It's amazing because they make it funny and they make it humorous with just a tad bit of seriousness to it. It's the perfect mix.
They're crafting quite a personality to it, and it's really important because it's a brand new IP, right? And I think they've done an amazing job of getting people to care about a brand new IP, because that's just so hard to do. To get a lot of games come out and they're like, all right, we're going to be Elder Scrolls because we already have a fan base, or we're going to bring the Star Wars people in because they already have a fan base. Doing a new IP is a little bit rough. So, but I think they're doing a great job, and I'm just so shocked at how easy it is to just get feedback directly from Carbine. I put out I think it was my first or second Nexus Talk on my own personal channel. It only got like 1,000 or 2 hits on it. It didn't like blow up or go viral or anything. And the executive producer, Jeremy Gaffney, he posts a comment in that video thread. He's like, "Oh, this is great," and blah blah blah. I was like, "What? Like, that's insane!" So, just like everyone in that company, they're on the internet, they're on Reddit, they're on the forums, on the fan sites. They are interacting with the community, and it's very cool to be a part of that.
Now, they've made a lot of interesting decisions over the past couple months. Subscription fee,
yeah,
cred, 40-man raids. Well, that was more than past month, but
yeah.
A lot of us that played Ultima Online and the original EverQuest are just like, yes, But speaking of cred, how do you feel the free-to-play community is going to accept cred as a viable option to pay for WildStar?
Yeah, I did a video about this, and on the surface, on paper, I don't love the cred system. I not saying it won't be successful. I hope it's successful. I hope it does great, and I will reserve final judgment before I kind of see how it goes. But my main problem with it is it seems to be most advantageous, or the people that might be most drawn to it are the people that are already really invested in the game already, and they know this is my next MMO. I'm going to play this for the long haul. I'm starting a guild. I want to do war plots. I'm going to do 40-man raiding. The people that are all gung-ho already about WildStar probably are the people that can benefit from cred, because you're probably going to have to farm or have a lot of gold to actually be able to not pay a sub fee and actually use cred instead, right? You're going to have to play the game a lot.
If it's anything like Eve, that'll definitely be the case.
Yeah, it's not going to be something where you could just, I'll play for a couple hours a week and I'll pay for my subscription by playing the game. No, it's not going to be like that. You're really, the people that are mostly benefiting from it are the people that have the most time to play it. And the people that are just on the fence about it and say, hey, I would try that out. But then they see, it's a subscription fee. They're not helped out at all by the cred system. And I have some real life friends who are looking for the next MMO that just don't want to pay sub fees anymore. And they were so excited about the game. I was showing them the dev speak videos, showing them the trailers. They're excited, and then they had made the announcement that it's a sub fee with the cred. And they said, this cred does nothing for me. I'll never play the game enough for that to pay for my subscription. So they're not as interested anymore than they were. And that's the thing. It doesn't help the people that are kind of like on the fence, and it won't bring in people that are necessarily just mildly interested in it. And I know some people think that's a good thing. Some people are like, you know what, I just want to be surrounded by people who are willing to, put their money where their mouth is, and they're all gung-ho for the game. I want the community to be about all people who are invested in this and not just free to play people who are just trying it out or whatever. So I know there's people that feel that way as well. But yeah, I'm not a huge fan of the cred system myself as it currently stands.
Well, that's fair. So you're not excited about that, but what are you most excited about for WildStar?
Well, there's a couple things. I like the path system a lot. I think that's a unique content delivery mechanism where, you get to pick the type of gamer that you are, and you get to have extra content delivered to you of that type. So that I think is pretty unique. I like the housing system. I can't wait to try that out. I think that's probably one of the big draws of the game. It's not just decorating, your own personal space. It's very functional, and you kind of decide, do I want to have do I want to have resources that I can gather on my plot, or do I want to, have target dummies, or do I want to be able to craft in peace, or do I want to have raid portals on my own land? And you have to kind of, you're not going to be able to have everything, so you have to kind of choose which functionality you want on your housing plot. So those two features are probably big, but I also would like to raid again. And, I haven't, it's funny. I haven't raided in like a year and a half, and I, kind of miss it a little bit. So I like the fact that they're going gung ho with it, and, switching up the raids on a weekly basis to kind of keep it fresh and interesting. And, yeah, so I am looking forward to those three things, I think most.
You and me both.
They're coming out with 20-man raids, 40-man raids, which I'm really excited about 40-man raids, because I remember the big 72 plus man raids that were they were basically Zergfest is what they were, but they were fun. They were fun to get that many people together. Now Blizzard has kind of done something a little interesting, for lack of a better word.
Yeah.
They've gone to flex rating, and we've gotten some feedback from the gaming community, and it's actually working really, really well.
Yeah, go ahead. Sorry.
No, I was just going to ask you how you feel about that.
Yeah, it's funny that they said that, and I know this is going to sound dumb saying it after the fact or whatever, but when I was running, I ran 40-person raids, I ran 25-person raids when they cut it down in WoW, and then actually my last year or so I did 10-man guild. And I said for about 2 years in there, I was like, when you have to have policies as an officer to sit people out, right? And to figure out, okay, who, when you have 14 people and you only can have 10, and figuring out like who has to sit out and rotating and all that kind of stuff. I mean, that was such a big hassle. So I was saying for years, I just wish we could take whoever shows up. And I knew there would be balancing issues about like how do you do the loot then, and how do you tweak the boss mechanics so that it doesn't become too easy, and it's difficult. But I always thought they need to do something like this. And when I saw that announcement, I was like, that's amazing. And of course they do it after I quit WoW. But it's perfect. I would love to see something like that. There's probably some flaws with it, and I think it's why they made it easier than like normal modes, because to tune it so that it's still really, really challenging, regardless if you have 10 all the way up to 25 players. I think that's very hard to do. At some point, there's going to be a sweet spot, right? That the players will figure out like that. They'll say 16 is the ideal amount, because the risk versus reward and how tough it gets, somebody will figure it out, and then it'll become like 16-person rating then, right? They won't allow the 17-person in it. So by leaving it as easier than normal modes, then they don't get that kind of hardcore min-maxing of it. It's just something that, more casual guilds can kind of get into. So I would like to see somebody solve that for a more hardcore scheme. Again, it's probably impossible, but yeah, I definitely like that flexible thing, because I like playing with my dad. I like playing with my real life friends, and we're not the most skillful bunch. We're not we're hardcore in terms of time commitment and research and stuff like that, but not in terms of skills. So it would be great to just whoever can show up can raid.
And it's such a great way to introduce people into raiding it for the first time.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely.
Well, speaking of sharing with other players, Do you think housing is going to be accessible enough to be able to show off to other players?
Yeah, I think, I mean, they're making it they're trying to make it a social experience, right? One of the downsides of having something like Into the Pitfalls is, hey, you don't want to encourage the player bases to just disappear from the cities and just spend all their time in these private little areas. So they have abilities to invite people to come to your own house, right? You can permission it that only your friends can come, permission it so that your guild can come, or you can open up your house to the public. And yeah, you can kind of hang out and do different events. I'm sure the RP community will do things with that. And I think it's going to be a very social kind of experience. So I'm looking forward to seeing how it all pans out.
It sounds exciting. It
Yeah.
really does. Just watching the videos of the different ornamentation you can do to the outside of it, and then the inside of it, some of the things they were showing, man, it really looks cool.
Yeah. And they have the expeditions, right, which are these instances that you can do from your housing plot. They're like like little mini dungeons, and apparently this was on the design table, and they actually scratched it, said, we're not going to have time to do that. And so a core of the Carbine members, they did it on their off time. They worked weekends and nights, and they produced, like, I forget how many, like 5 or 6 of these, and they showed them, and now they're back in the game because these devs took their own time to do it. So it's just amazing the types of things that you can get when people are passionate about the product that they're making.
That is so awesome. Now, we heard you checked out our interview with Jeff Kurtenacker. What role do you feel immersion plays in a game?
That was like an hour and 40-minute long, wasn't it?
Yes,
that was a big one.
He's a talker.
We're getting there.
Yeah. Am I going for the record? Oh no. I like immersion. One of the downsides to being a content creator is most of the time when I'm playing a game these days, I'm also recording it or streaming it, and the immersion gets broken. Because I have this extra conscious that I'm trying to be entertaining, or I'm trying to be informative, or I've got an audience, and that kind of ruins the immersion, to be honest. But when I'm playing a game just for me, I'm a total like geek about it. I'll make mood light. I'll turn down the lights, right, and I'll make sure it's kind of dark. And I have these are all on a dimmer switch, so all the lights can come down. And I would try to clean my desk up and have the coffee in the right place and the speakers going. So I enjoy music. I know some people like turning their own music off. My dad plays with the sound turned off on games, and he'll put like Pandora on with and I can't.
Oh,
it's not for me. That's not for me. I don't like that. That's totally immersion breaking.
Do that.
Yeah, but my dad will have and it's funny, like he's in his 60s and he listens to all like the popular music like now. So I have like Rihanna playing in the background while he's raiding or something. Like, no, Dad, no. So yeah, I love immersion. I love the music in games.
very good. Hopefully you won't be turning that off for Slipknot. So
No.
check it out. Jeff joked about that a couple times and we were laughing, but
Yeah, that's funny.
he's a trip. Well, for you though, we have to ask you the hard questions. So what race, what class, and what faction?
It's not hard because it's completely undecided.
Aw.
I'll tell you this. I like the Draken on the Dominion, and I like the Mordesh on the Exiles. But I can't really. I like both factions, but I can't really set my heart on one or the other before I know like where I'm playing. Like I have a multi-gaming guild that I'm part of, and I have to figure out what their plans are. Are they going to be raiding? So until I figure out like where I'm going, I can't make a decision on my faction because I don't want to get like sucked. I don't want to be like my heart set on playing a Chua on the Dominion side, and then all my friends want to play on the Exile side. I did that with World of Warcraft. I played in the original WoW beta. I was a Tauren. I was all about the Horde, and I'm like, I'm gonna be Horde. This is gonna be awesome. And I was like the last one home from work the day it launched. I come home, all my friends are on the Alliance side. And I was totally thrown for a loop. And I wound up playing for 7 years on the Alliance side. But I remember being like, I wanted to play a Tauren, and now I'm a Night Elf. A night elf. So, so I'm trying not to do that again. Not to make. I'm not getting my heart set on anything. But I like.
That's
I like
very
the.
smart.
I like the. I don't know how well you can see that or not, but that's a
Oh,
Draken.
yeah.
Oh, yep,
Nice.
yep.
I like them.
Now, Carbine has some really interesting things that they're going to do in their raids. Boss mobs, if we understand correctly, raid mobs, the bosses might use one ability one time you go in there, then another ability the next time. Or you might not see a boss one time and there's another boss in there. You think players are going to adapt to the various challenges in these raids?
I don't know. I don't know. See, I'm kind of on the fence with this. It's really going to be when you get to play it. We'll make our decision. But I like the goal. The goal is to make it fresh every week, right? And they want to have like these races to first kill happen every week, rather it just be this one-time thing that happens once a new raid is released, and then it happens in the first couple weeks. There's this race for world first, and then it doesn't matter after that. They want to have, and they said they're going to actually have rewards for which guilds beat it the quickest or the best on a given week. And so weekly, it could be a challenge. And the way that they're going to make it a challenge every week is to change up some of the things. Sometimes there's going to be environmental hazards. Maybe you'll do a different set of trash. Maybe the bosses will have different mechanics. But my fear, and I think anybody who's led raids or whatever can attest to this, my fear is you work real hard on this really tough encounter, and you're wiping, and you beat it after like 100 or 200 attempts, right? And you finally get that rush and like, yes, we beat it. And you know what always happens the next week when you go in, it's always easier, and it might only take you, half as many attempts, or and it gets easier until you got it down pat, and then it's just easy.
Repetition.
The repetition, right? You get the muscle memory. The team works together. They know the fight.
Absolutely.
Are you going to still be able to do that in WildStar if it changes every week? And is it going to be nice and refreshing and nice and different, or is it going to be frustrating that we had this down last week after like hours and hours, and now we can't beat it because they changed one of the mechanics? And so I'm a little nervous that could be a little bit frustrating and get a little old.
I could see that, because I don't know, and in the guild I'm in, we're not the first to do things.
Yeah.
We do see in-game content, but we're not the first to do things. So it's always nice to pull out a guide by Dolphy or somebody that has done it and has all the answers. So this, unless there's just a set amount of variances that they can say, okay, it can do this, 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 or this kind of throws the study book out the window, so to speak.
Yeah. And that's not necessarily good for content creators, but but no, I mean they do this approach multiple times throughout the game. I actually, for the most part, think it's refreshing. Like the puzzles in the game are procedurally generated, so that you can't just look online and go, all right, here's the answer to this puzzle. You have to figure it out every time you do it, because the answer is different every time. And I like those type of things where they're trying to get it so that you don't just go to a website and have the website play the game for you. I'm a big fan of that. It took me a long time. Like I was one of these purists when I first started playing World of Warcraft, where like, no, don't read this, don't watch the videos on the guides. Like, let's do this dungeon, let's do this new dungeon natural. Like we'll never know what's coming. And then a couple hours later, everyone's like yelling at each other and frustrated and like, all right, let's go watch the guides. But there's that. Yeah, there's this romantic notion that I have that we should be able to try to figure this out for myself. It just doesn't always feel as cool as I imagine it in my head. But yeah, so they're definitely going for that, lessening the impact of looking up things online, and this is just another way of doing that. But yeah, we'll see if it's fun, or we'll see if it's frustrating when it releases.
I think it's going to be fun. I see the frustration part of it. I really do, because I'm the person back in EverQuest that would get really odd stares from my coworkers as I sat down at the table, popped open my little, not really a briefcase, but somewhere in between a folder and a briefcase, and started pulling out raid information. Can you imagine doing that at a fire station? So, but I'm actually really excited about it as well. I think it's going to be nice, because there was raids in Star Wars that we went into, and I can guarantee you we went in over 100 times, and it was the same raid each time.
Yeah.
So, very nice for a little change.
Yep. No, I can see that.
I'm hoping it'll be great. Well, from one of your fanboys, we have a question for you. Do you think that Rouse Dowsers should be a pet class?
um, I'm not a big fan of pet classes, to be honest. It would be cool to have them as like a mini pet or a cosmetic pet or something like that. But I'm hoping that there's not one particular class in WildStar that is like the pet class, because I played a hunter for a long time in World of Warcraft, and it gets frustrating after a while that your power is largely determined by this thing that this animal, this critter, this creature that you have limited control over, and if it dies then your DPS goes way down and stuff like that. It's always clunky to me. And like you make it too weak, and then it's like, what's the point? And you make it too powerful, and then you feel like, well, okay, you're not really doing anything, it's your pet. But so I think I answered that a little bit more serious than the question probably was. But roused hours are cool as a pet class, not cool.
Now, we've heard about war plots. Obviously, you're going to have war plots, and players going to be able to attack them, and you're going to be able to defend them. But other than that, there hasn't been this deluge of information about PvP.
Yeah.
Are you interested in PvP?
I play PvP in almost every MMO that I play, but that's not my area of focus. I'm mostly a PvE player. I like dabbling in PvP and trying it. I'm never, I've said this before. I'm not the most skillful player, and it takes Twitch response time and a lot of other things that I can't do anymore. So, but war plots, there's nothing like that in any other game. We don't know a ton of information about it at this point, but from what they're describing, it sounds like violent housing.
Yes, it does.
And I just like the fact that you build the fort, the offenses and the defenses, and you can capture raid bosses and bring it to your fort. And then when you lose a battle, there's things that actually get destroyed and you have to rebuild it. And I'm just so curious how that all it's going to work out. And so that might be, a type of PvP combat that really kind of draws me in. But I've done them all. I've done Battlegrounds. I've done arenas in World of Warcraft, and I stunk at most of it. But the game that really drew me in PvP-wise was Star Wars: The Old Republic. I thought that was some of the best Battleground, or Warzone, they called it, right?
I
PvP.
had fun with those.
I loved it. I leveled all the way up. I did my PvP dailies every single day, and when I got to max level, and then it became about the gear grind, that's when it stopped being fun. But the whole leveling process was awesome in that. Hutball for the win.
That was the one that frustrated me the most.
Oh, really?
Oh, man.
You were probably, a sniper?
No, I was a tank. I'm a tanks for the win, but I was a trooper vanguard, and the two best things you can do in Hutball as a trooper vanguard is you can yank them off the platforms to you.
Yep.
Or you can jump to them.
Yep.
That's about the only usefulness I had.
I was an Inquisitor, so I loved that. That was the classes that could push and pull people loved Hutball, but that's why I thought you might be the agent, or what did they call it? It was an agent, Imperial agent.
Yes.
I had a friend that was playing one of those, and he's like, I can't push or pull people. This Hutball stinks.
No, I had a really hard time with it personally. But, like I said, I'm not a big jumper.
Yeah. True.
Now, are you going for a hardcore war plot? Is the guild you're going to go in there with going to get big, hot, and heavy into the war plots?
I would think my first goal is to find a raiding guild first and foremost. And we don't know a lot. Like, are you going to be able to do both? Right? I don't know. Because let's say you're in a 40-person raiding guild. You might make the assumption, all right, well, war plots are also 40-person. You can do both in the guild. But from the little bits of information we have, war plots is going to be very hardcore. And I don't know, do you need to have all 40 people trying to do things in the game to earn different upgrades for the war plot? Is it going to take a lot of your time to do that? And in the matches, how many do you do a week? And are you going to be able to have a guild that does both every week, or is you going to have to pick and choose? I think that's an unanswered question that we don't have right now. So, but if at all possible, I would love to be able to do both, but I just don't know if that's going to be a feasible thing yet.
It would definitely take a sizable guild, no doubt about that.
Yeah.
I can see people getting not necessarily burned out, but actually feeling like it's a job.
Yeah. Yeah, it's good. It might be a lot of work, and they're kind of like they're unafraid of seeming hardcore, right? They definitely, they want to make it accessible, and they want to have elements for people to do, but in small groups and by themselves. And I think the fact that they have a max level end game solo story that you can experience is great. But they go out constantly saying, hey, there's going to be some of our content that's hardcore, and it's only for the small percentage of the player base, and that's okay. And a lot of other MMO companies are just like, no, we want to be as open as possible.
I love it, man. I really do. I really love that. I do miss the things that a community should come together naturally. Obviously, that's what makes a good community. But it never hurts to kind of be nudged together a little bit. A little encouragement, anyway.
Yeah. Do you see what that guy's got? I want that.
That's right. I want that.
His is shinier than mine. Yeah. Well, in the same vein of being hardcore and earning big things, we know in Guild Wars you've liked to conquer all the content before you move on to the next zone. Are you going to opt for the same thing in WildStar and go for defeating everything, or are you going to go more for world first and just kick everybody's butt getting there the first time?
Yeah, I would love to be in a situation where I could be in a guild that goes for world first and stuff like that. But my life outside of gaming just does not fit that at all. I mean, you guys were awesome, like fitting my schedule to do this show tonight. But like I have two small kids, the house, my wife, and a lot of other things going on. So I don't have the time to invest in, or the flexibility to invest in any kind of world first anything. And I'd probably be the worst person on the whole raid if they did accept me. So as much as I would love to do that kind of thing, I will never be in a guild that kind of goes for those type of things. I'd like to be, part of a group that, commits to it seriously and puts in the 3 or 4 nights a week and, is researches what they need to do and, treats it like a team sport, right? Everyone brings their A game, and we don't chastise people for failing, but we expect people to work and improve and stuff like that. But yeah, I want to be in just a nice kind of place where you're allowed to make mistakes once in a while. I think that's important. But I will also use my tendencies to try to, like, I'm going to be probably the explorer path, so that I will jump to all the different heights and collect all the different achievements and explore because I think they're going to have map completion or something similar to that in WildStar as well. So yeah, I will explore all the things and unlock all the achievements, precious achievements.
And knowing this Carbine crew, there are bound to be plenty of them. And some of them are probably going to be pretty darn amusing to get through.
Yeah, I can't wait to see all the little Easter eggs and things they sneak in the game, because just like a dev speak video, like the disclaimer, the disclaimers at the beginning, there's so much you can explore in those, and like they had the hidden, like this is left intentionally blank and it's not actually blank, and they had the one where they rickrolled you, and it's just so fun. Fun.
We're starting to wrap up, getting a little late, and I know obviously it's almost 11 o'clock here, so that means it's running a little late your time. But what would you like to tell your fans that are watching tonight? Any final thoughts?
Well, obviously, I'm amazed constantly at people leaving comments and watching my streams and interacting with me, and so just a huge thank you to everybody who's supporting me in this venture, this unique couple of years of my life where, just trying to follow my dreams and, be a content creator. It's a lot of work with very little financial payoff. But when someone comments and says that this really helped them, or they made them smile, or some guy in my stream this morning said, I just got off of work. He's from Europe, and he's like, I had a horrible day at work, but I'm excited to have a cup of coffee and watch your stream now. So little things like that
awesome.
Really mean the world to me. So just thank you everybody for watching and supporting me.
No, thank you very much. Thank you for coming on the show, and thank you so much for your patience earlier as
No
we were
problem.
having some massive technical difficulties.
It's been a blast.
Remember, everyone, make sure to check out Richie Procopio on Twitter. Don't miss his streams on YouTube. Search Bog Otter.
And folks, don't forget our upcoming casts over the next couple days. Sunday, we have Grievance News at 7, which is our guild. On Monday, we're going to have Debuffed Out of the Box with special guests Anna McGill and John Ryan at 7 p.m. And on Tuesday, we've got a new show called Fan Fanatics, hosted by Jennifer Karras, the very lovely cosplayer, featuring special guests Kira Miku and Paige Belmont, also at 7.
Richie, thank you so much again. It has been a true
problem.
pleasure, sir.
Thank you very much,
very
both of you.
All right, guys, that's all we have for Debuffed Special Edition Out of the Box tonight. Y'all have a great night, and we will